I love doing this. I start out like this. Hello, entrepreneurs. Joe Dichiara, CPA extraordinaire, coming to you live from downtown Bethpage, Long Island, New York. For the time being, anyway. I think this is, I'm still in transition, and I'm here with a new friend. I'm told that he's an extraordinary guy. Omar Zenhom. Is that right?
That's correct, Joe.
Really?
Yeah, you got it off the bat.
That was lucky. I like your background there. Is that real or is that?
No, that's 100% real. Yeah, I don't do the
Oh,
virtual
cool,
thing.
cool. Mine's real too.
I love it.
So anyway, I found that I think you owe me some money, Omar,
How?
because I think I signed up for this webinar ninja
Okay.
like a long, long time ago.
All right.
And I'm joking. I'm joking. But when my assistant said, "Oh, he, you know, did this webinar ninja," I had no idea. I had no idea. But this is awesome
Oh, thanks so
because
much.
I plan on asking you a lot of tricky questions.
Okay.
Because the first thing I'm looking at, I'm like, this is. I mean, I'm on your website. This looks awesome.
Thanks, man.
Really, but how do you compete with like Zoom and StreamYard and
All these guys. Yeah, totally.
yeah, that's the first. I'm like, oh my God, this. But you've been around a long time, so I'll just let you talk.
Sure. I love it. Yeah, so we've been around for 7 years or so. First of all, I love the fact you're from Long Island. That's my hometown. I grew up in Ronkonkoma, so that's already off the bat. I was just like, oh, I like this guy. He knows what a black and white cookie is. Yeah, so we've been around for 7 years, and the short answer is that we really specialize in making sure we provide a solution for independent creators, coaches, trainers, basically teams that are quite small. 90% of our customers are a team of one, and when you are a small team, you need a software that is not complicated, that's easy to use, but most of all has everything in one place. So the reason why we started WebinarNinja in the first place is that I was really tired of, Frankensteining 4 or 5 different pieces of software to make a successful webinar. Till this day, like if I
Wait,
want to
wait,
run a webinar,
hold on a second. I'm
yeah,
sorry. Frankensteining?
yeah, you like that?
Is that a word?
I, I've heard of it before, so I'm using it, so I guess it is.
It's listen. It just painted a really good picture to me because I get that.
Yeah,
I get
yeah,
that it's tough, and I was at a team of one for a long time. It's not. It's. I'll tell you the truth. It's almost impossible now with
mm,
all the different technology. So tell me a little bit more about. Well, a
yeah.
lot more about how this works. I love the fact that you know your market, you're niched.
Yeah.
Right?
One of the things that drives our whole company is talking to our customers. We do a lot of customer interviews. We have a quick chat on Zoom or a call or whatever, and figure out what how are they doing what they're doing right now? What's their system? What are their procedures? Who's doing what in their company? Where they're spending their money? Where they're spending their time? What annoys them? One of the things I learned over the years is that it's not the customer's job to give you a solution, but it's your job to find out what's bothering them, what's their pain points. And your job as the innovator is to come up with an elegant solution that doesn't even feel like a solution. It's just kind of second nature when you start using it. So what we learned over the years is that, in order to promote and run a proper webinar, you have to have a landing page software, and you have to come up with some sort of registration landing page. You need to have an integration with some sort of email provider so you can capture email and then send them an email reminder or confirmation. You need to make sure these links are secure so that if it's a private or a paid webinar, that only people have access to it that have paid. You need to make sure.
My
Yeah,
head's spinning. My head is spinning
exactly.
because That's all the stuff that I was doing like a couple of years ago, and now I just hand it off to. We're still doing a lot of that stuff.
Yeah.
Still,
And a
you're
lot.
telling me this software, so I got to sign up for my free trial. I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah. So basically, what we realize is that our customer, our person that who we target, who we help, really wants a job to be done. They're like, I just want to show up. I want to run my webinar. I want to be able to serve my audience. I want to be able to maybe give an offer and sell my products or services. And I want everything else to just take care of itself. Like I
But
want the recording to happen.
that's exactly what I have now.
Yeah.
I have that. It's just that I have 4 full-time people that I'm paying to do
Eh,
this.
exactly. So we basically replaced all that by automating that process versus having the people. Plus the fact that they're doing it with several pieces of software. So for
Yeah,
someone who's a solopreneur, they're like, I want to save the money, I want to save the headaches, I want to be able to have one place with everything so that it's secure. And also, I don't have to be jumping around left and right and making sure that they all work together perfectly. Some of these don't talk to each other very well. So that's kind of the genesis of the idea, because I was running a lot of webinars myself. I was a high school teacher for 13 years. When I went to
oh, wow.
entrepreneurship, webinars really were something I gravitated to, because I was like, I love to teach, I could teach at scale, but I hated putting them together. But they were working for my business, but I was just like, there's got to be a better way to do this. So I actually created the solution for myself first, and then I started running webinars. It was a very basic version of what it is today.
And how
But
how long ago was that?
this 2014.
Okay.
Yeah, a little over 7 years ago. And basically, my users were like, or the attendees on the webinar were like, "Hey, what are you doing for this webinar? What are you using?" And I was like, "It's just something I put together to make my life easier," because I was spending 3-4 hours every week putting all these pieces together, and I was just like, "I don't want to do this every single week." And they were like, "Can we buy it?" And I was just like, "Oh, never really considered selling something I created for myself."
Are you serious?
Eventually, yeah. So eventually,
Wow.
we cleaned it up for commercial use, and now it's we grew from our initial 250 beta users to over 1 million people have used the software either as an attendee or a host. So it's been an incredible 7 years for us. But for me, the biggest joy is just jumping in and seeing all the different kind of webinars people are using, like people doing webinars on from yoga to karate to sleight of hand magic to how to learn data mining. Like this, the variety of information that is being shared around the world. For me, it's like huge joy.
I'm speechless right now. If you don't mind, I don't know if you could see this, but I just shared
Yeah,
your website. Can I play this
sure.
video?
Yeah.
Let's see if it works. Yeah. Very cool.
Thanks.
I want one of those.
Yeah.
So, all right, how much time do we have? Because I could just go on and I lose track of time. I want to cover some important things. So, you're targeting people like me from a couple of years ago when I was
Mm.
doing all this stuff myself. I had no idea what I was doing. The uh the good thing was I knew that I had no idea what I was doing. And I knew that it was terrible, but I had to do it.
Mm.
That was the thing. I had to start doing it. And entrepreneurs find a way.
Mm.
And you found a way. It was just that you just created it, I guess.
Yeah.
And I hired people. And listen, we run a good operation. I don't know if you saw my team, but I didn't even send you the link. That was on me. I usually say, and that's another thing. So I delegated the setting up the podcast to my VA, one of my VAs. So we pay attention to this stuff. And I'm looking at it, I'm like, we use Kartra for one thing, we're using this for another. All the things that you're saying, our email thing is in another place. So I'm not gonna look at it. I'm gonna have them look
Yeah,
at it
yeah.
and say, how
So
much
they're
can we
gonna do
eliminate?
that. Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Can we eliminate it? And probably a lot of people are asking the same thing because Zoom. I don't know if who do you compete with? Is it Zoom?
So it's interesting that you asked this because we have a whole bunch of different competitors, and it's just all about our kind of people coming to us. So often, let's say a coach who's teaching their area of expertise, like a piano coach, they will start off with Zoom because they know it because of the pandemic, and their family uses Zoom
Did
and
you
things
know
like
that
that.
I have a piano school as a client?
Wow, that was random.
We were
That's
just
incredible.
talking about this. Yes, literally. I'm not
Wow.
making this up. I said, listen, we're trying to get more because she's local. I said,
Yeah,
well, teach online and
totally.
okay.
So they will go to Zoom and they will be like, okay, I need to run some webinars. I need to do some workshops, earn some trust with my audience, get them familiar with my teaching style so that later they can take on courses from me and I can charge for these courses and things like that. So in theory, in their head, it all makes sense. They sign up for Zoom because they're familiar with it, but then they start to realize, okay, how am I supposed to market this? How am I supposed to charge for this? How do I make sure people that pay only have access? How do I save this recording somewhere? How do I give access to that recording? And then
So
all these questions come up, and then they realize, okay, maybe Zoom is not everything I need. I need all these other stuff. And
all
then
right.
through
So
that,
can I interrupt you?
yeah, of course,
I don't care because I am going to interrupt you. But
yeah,
I'm just, somebody that's new to this, because these are my clients. They're like, oh, we gotta do what you're doing. And I'm like, oh my God, it took me years. It took me years to literally when I was trying to do it myself. So people don't know what they're in for. I'm like,
and it's
okay,
a
but when
blessing in
you
some
do
way.
is
It's a
when you,
blessing because if they did know, maybe they wouldn't have done it.
well, here's the thing. So yeah, they get sucked in. I call it's like quicksand. They're like, oh my God, I didn't know there was other things that I had to worry about. So when you do Zoom, it's great. You get a video.
Right,
But then it's like, because I knew this, I was like, okay, I have a video. Now I got to edit it.
right.
I got to market it. Where do I put it? How do I share it? That's what we're talking about, right? All the nitty
Exactly.
gritty stuff that people don't know about.
Yeah. So we try to attract those types of solopreneurs, those types of small businesses that are looking to simplify things. And to be quite honest with you, like they really don't. They shouldn't be focused on that. What they need to focus on is their secret sauce, their
That's
expertise.
why I call it quicksand.
Yeah. They really what we our aim is just like we just need you to focus on the content that you offer because that's really what's gonna build trust with your audience and sell courses or sell product is you. And we want the technology to kind of fade in the background. You just focus on your presentation, focus on your webinar, and let us take care of that. That's what you're paying for. That we take care of all that other stuff for you. And most people just think it's like when they come to us, they're like, this is like a no brainer. Like this is like so the ROI on this is incredible because I don't have to waste my time on all this other stuff. We have 24/7 support. I'm giving myself a plug here, but people
Oh
are
no,
able
I
to ask
want to.
somebody. Yeah.
We're gonna try it. I'm telling you, it would be stupid not to try it. What's the offer? You got a free trial, right?
Yeah, we have a 14-day free trial so you can choose any plan you like and test it as much as you like and at the end of the 14 days you can decide.
Can I try this and then have you back?
Of course.
And I'll give you okay, this is our experience, good or bad.
Yeah. Love
You
that.
won't, because if it's bad, I'll tell you.
Yeah,
Is that okay?
of course. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is great. So now I know why my team was saying that I'm gonna like this interview. We do have a comment here. I'm terrible at this.
Sure, sure. Let's do it.
We get that's our Elizabeth having the okay. So Elizabeth, you've heard everything I said. So just make it happen. So Elizabeth is one of my executive VAs. She's awesome. And this is the kind, she was not my first employee because I never actually hired her. Uh, she just started doing a lot of stuff. And one of them was helping me, get onto this to be able to do this stuff,
Hmm.
you know. But so maybe I don't need Elizabeth anymore if I just get Webinar Ninja.
No, Elizabeth is gold.
But anything that could streamline our process and this, I'm excited about this because this is something
Yeah.
that I think a lot of the people that come to us
Right.
in our mastermind group, our clients, this is, you know,
But on the topic of what you're saying with Elizabeth, Elizabeth right now with the tools that she's using, she's doing a lot of $10 tasks. What I mean by that is these little tasks are sucking up her time to just make things work, right?
yeah,
Elizabeth is very talented. I've seen her communication with my team. She should be put on $10,000 tasks. Her time is a lot more valuable, bringing you clients, bringing you sponsorships, bringing you whatever you need, and that always looking to upgrade, right? So her time could get you a whole lot more in return than what she's currently doing with just these little fiddly things.
absolutely. I've been having this conversation with Elizabeth and our whole team. We're actually going through a process where we're like identifying where people are strong, where we're, I love that term, the $10 tasks. Like we got to delegate those $10 tasks or get rid of them by
Hmm.
streamlining. And that's the whole thing. That's how it's the only way you could scale a business. So I know you have your own team, correct?
Correct.
So can we spend a couple of minutes on talking about that? Because that's been a whole learning experience for me, to be honest with you.
Totally. Yeah.
You started out like everyone else by yourself, right?
Yep, it was just me and my partner, who's also my wife, Nicole. We started Webinar Ninja together. Our first hire was really just a freelancer who helped clean up my code and the software. But a lot of people ask me like, who should be your first hire? And one of the best moves I made was like the first hire I made was a very talented, executive assistant, an assistant, and what that person did. Cindy, who's still with the company with us in a different role, she's now heading up a lot of the marketing stuff. But the first thing I highly recommend when somebody's growing their team and making that first hire is to find somebody that can document your processes. Um, at the end of the day, your company can't live in your head. Like a lot of solopreneurs, they don't. Their biggest fear is like, I don't want to hire somebody and give them all the power. And what if they leave? Like that's not a business. A business, if I were a real business, I can buy it and I can operate it tomorrow. So the first task we gave our virtual assistant or our executive assistant at the time was to create basically a bunch of Google Docs we call standard operating procedures, SOPs. And it's literally the steps of every task we do. So literally what we asked her to do is like, hey, I would shoot her a video. This is the steps for publishing a podcast episode. We would, from recording to editing to the marketing to putting it on WordPress to show notes, all the steps, right? Your first step is to create the document called the SOP and to create the document. Once you create the document, I want you to follow your own document and do the task. because then it's kind of a foolproof way to make sure your SOP is not missing any steps. Because if you follow your SOP and there's something that's not right, you'll pick it up right away. And then we just did that with every single thing, from like, how does an employee ask for leave? How do you give a refund from a customer? How do you answer a customer who's asking about this competitor? Like an SOP for every single thing. And it's basically our playbook. And this really sets up your business for redundancy, meaning that if anybody on the team, like say, for example, our customer service manager has an emergency and she has to attend to her child or something like that, anybody on the team could just follow the SOP and then jump in and do her job or do her task. And it's not going to do as fast as her, but we're not like lost in the dark. But that's my advice in terms of like, when you're starting to scale, build your system, build your procedures, so that way, first of all, it also allows you to know what you need to hire for and how to come up with a job description, because you know what they have to do.
I'm smiling because we're doing exactly that right now. We started with an organization chart, and it's like, now, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work because you don't realize how much is in your head. Does that make sense?
Totally.
I mean, you got this big picture, or maybe even a small picture, but you're like, I'm just tired of doing these webinars and doing all this work. But then you got to explain it in words, right? That's not easy. It's really not easy. And then you got to go through it. Like you said, it's like, okay, let's see how this works. It's almost like a conveyor belt. And then you're like, oh, something keeps getting stuck. Where is it getting stuck? And then you got to fix it. Probably like what Henry Ford went through when he was trying to build cars, right?
Yeah, the assembly line, yeah.
But you must have done a great job, because I mean, I'm looking at this, and it really looks great. You make sense. Not just the everything that you've said about growing a business. I don't know how big you are, how big you intend to get, but I think you have the ingredients to do basically whatever you plan on doing. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally. And appreciate that. That means a lot to us. And I do want to mention that, you never stop learning. We're learning, we're trying to improve. There's always levels to everything. We are always trying to help our team improve as well. A lot of new businesses worry. They're like, how am I going to attract great talent? There's so many big companies out there. And the first thing I say to them is like, go back to when you were in a job that you enjoyed. Okay. Was it the salary? Was it the snacks in the cafeteria? Was it the paid leave policy? No, it was none of that. It was your job satisfaction. It was the fact that you felt like you were growing, you felt like you were valued. You worked with people that were like-minded and appreciated you. You felt significant in some way. By the way, all these things are free. You can offer all of these things to anybody that joins your team. And by the way, it's rare. A lot of people feel like they come to our team and they're like, wow, you guys trust us. We can do, we have autonomy. You don't micromanage us. I get to have a little flexibility in my life, but at the same time, I get to learn and grow and be pushed. All these things are pretty simple once you put yourself in the shoes of the team member, of the employee. And I feel like this is so underutilized. One of the things that we like to do in our team, we do an all hands meeting, which is just an all staff meeting every month. But one of the things that we want to celebrate wins, but also we want to learn from what happened this last month. What can we do better? What has some things that we can improve upon? I personally feel like if you're not learning, if you're not growing, it just is it's not motivating to get up in the morning. You don't feel like you're becoming a better self. So that's the best gift you can give your employees.
And what did you say? That's all free?
It's all free. Like to praise your employees, to make them feel significant, to stretch them, to give them a way to expand themselves. Most people, they say, well, this is what their job is, and they don't want to go outside the job description. It's like, well, why don't you have them step in? Like we have our engineers sometimes step into support, answer a support ticket, so you understand who you're building for. stretch them a little bit. And today is a fun day. Remember when we're in high school, or sorry, grade school, and it was the day of the field day, right?
Oh
Why we were
God.
so excited to get up in the morning. We got up before our parents because it's a different day. It's exciting. It's not the mundane day of school. You can create quote unquote field days in your business for your employees by giving them different new responsibilities, new tasks, new adventures. And that to me, it's like it just takes a little planning and time, but you're not taking money out of the bank and paying them extra for something to provide that.
That's great because we have a team meeting in about an hour, so I think we're gonna plan a field trip.
There you go.
But Omar, listen, we went about twice as far as I wanted to go because people, I try to keep these to like 15, 20 minutes because people just don't, or maybe it's just me. And this is the last thing that Elizabeth just said. But I think
Love
we've
it.
been reading the same books or learning from the same people because I agree with everything that you said. I read I think it was a Harvard study that said exactly what you said. People don't really care about money. They'd rather know that they're doing a great job.
Mm-hmm.
And if they know what their job actually is, that helps.
Exactly.
But
How to win.
everything you said, we try to, I think that we're trying to do that. We're trying to help people grow. We're a team. We support each other. That's how it's working.
That's awesome. I love it.
That's the only way. It's working. So we're not gonna. What do they say? If it's not broke, don't fix it.
Yeah.
So anyway, listen, this has been great. We're gonna try
Awesome.
the webinar ninja, and we're gonna book another one in a couple of weeks to talk to you about. We're gonna give you the honest truth about us using Webinar Ninja. How does that sound?
That sounds great, Joe. I can't wait for that.
All right. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's our story. We're sticking with it. God bless. Have a great night and try what is it? It's webinarninja.com, people. It's
That's
not
it.
hard. Elizabeth will post the URL in the comments because I can't do two things at once. All right. Anyway, again,